Mike Anderson again with American Independent Marketing. Again, we are in lecture mode, so you are muted. If you have questions during the course of the presentation, you can key them in using the chat feature. Joining us this morning, our special guest is Mark Goldberg. Mark spearheaded a pilot project with the Critical Care Project and had some significant success over the course of a 3-month period here in the spring and into the summer, and we're going to spend some time today talking with him about that and some specifics to give you some idea of the scope of the opportunity. So go ahead and advance for us, Mark, please. We'll spend some time talking about a snapshot of the opportunity, how you approach the client, the presentation, and some follow-up communication. And this is the first part of a 2-part series. The second part will be next week, and they're designed to dovetail. This one's designed to dovetail into the next one. So go ahead, Mark. Okay, Mark is he's a nationally known authority in the senior market. He's positioned himself successfully as something of a critical care planning specialist. You can see a little bit of his background here. And in the course of a 3-month period of time, beginning in April, he submitted approximately $100,000 worth of business with the critical care product from GTL. And that's what we're going to spend some time today talking about, how he was able to do that, some of the steps that he took along the way, and move everything forward. So with that, and without any further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Mark Goldberg. Mark, welcome.
Thank you, Michael, and it's certainly an honor and pleasure to be here, and welcome to all who are attending. Again, I know this sounds like the Mutual Admiration Club, but Mike Anderson has been an instrumental part in the success that I've been able to experience over these last few months, as not only an advisor to the product, but as someone who has been there for just about everything you could ask for support in trying to introduce this program to people who very well might be able to benefit from a solution other than traditional long-term care. So if you're not taking full advantage of the resource that Mike Anderson is, you're missing out on a whole lot. So I highly encourage you to take advantage of his knowledge and experience. All right. Again, I've been in the long-term care business for just about 25 years. I started in 1991, and I've watched the evolution, if you will, of the long-term care profession. And about a year or two ago, I started to really focus in on what the alternatives would be to traditional insurance, because with the ever-increasing changes in the market, tightening of underwriting, I was starting to see opportunities for a larger marketplace of people who were interested in doing something about this risk but couldn't qualify for the conventional long-term care insurance. And so I started to look at other opportunities. I consulted to a couple different companies that were sort of on the fringe of that, but ultimately it led me to work on this project with Mike, and with specifically the critical care product offered by Guaranteed Trust Life. And that really turned out to be a real attractive alternative for people who couldn't get long-term care. I started working out with a couple of presenting it to a couple of different associations who were more looking at a program like critical illness, and had some success with that, but nowhere near the kind of success I had when I started to call people that were previously declined for long-term care. And so everyone on this call, if you've had any experience at all in the long-term care business, probably have clients who have been declined, and this very well might be something you can go back to them with and be able to help them find a solution after all. One of the interesting things, by the way, that came from this experience was that 23% of the people that I called who were declined for long-term care had gone on and found a solution, had found a way to get the insurance, even though the original agent who had worked with them had given up. So once you have it in your head that you want to do something about this, you're going to go find a way. That's one of the lessons. And when you can work with people that have already indicated to you that they want to find a way to address this risk for themselves, you're working with a motivated prospect. And so it's just a matter of introducing something to them that helps them see that you're the conduit to getting that protection that they want. So here's some of the stats. 67.3% conversion rate of people that I actually presented to submitted an application. 1 out of 5.7 raw leads or declinations that I called submitted an application, which is far greater than the conversion rate is off of leads to a long-term care application, probably twice as good. As you see here, we wrote 76,000 in 2 months and close to 100,000 in 3. And the interesting thing about working with the clients is that the average premium was more than double that of when you were working with candidates who were looking at the critical care product for critical illness. So the average premium here was not really that much different than the average premium is on an LTC-I policy, right? So you get a sense, though, of what the upside to this market can be, and the approval rates on this market being so much greater than long-term care, traditional long-term care. All right, so as I said, an alternative to people who are looking to solve the long-term care risk, critical care in the 36 states that it's available, and critical illness in some of the other states, and Mike can talk to those other programs that are available in states where the GTL critical care product isn't available, is it may be the best alternative out there because it doesn't require a lump sum. In many ways, it pays like a long-term care policy does with a monthly benefit. Frankly, it has eliminated the things that have caused long-term care insurance to be under such scrutiny. It has a limited amount of benefit, meaning 2 years to 24 months is the longest plan you can get, $3,000 a month, but that benefit enhances for when you need it in a nursing home or when you need it for an assisted living facility. And so that's one of the reasons why the critical care product in particular is an attractive alternative. The other reason that critical care is really a good alternative for long-term care is that unlike some critical illness products that age out, critical care does not. You can get it up to age 84. You own the plan for life. It's triggered by a specific diagnosis as opposed to needing help with 2 ADLs or a cognitive impairment. But because of that, it actually can complement a long-term care insurance sale. If someone can qualify for long-term care insurance, they certainly can qualify for critical care. And you very well might find that a combination of a short-term critical care product and then a longer elimination period on a long-term care insurance package will let you have the best of both worlds for about the same premium, because the savings you can realize on that long-term care plan you can apply toward the critical care plan, and it's much more likely that they'll make a claim against the critical care plan, certainly in the short term, because it pays specifically upon diagnosis or upon a specific diagnosis. So you don't have to worry about needing help with 2 ADLs. Putting the 2 plans together provides a whole new opportunity to help separate you from the crowd, if you will, when advising someone on how to address this risk. Again, it's a great complement to a employee benefit package, as you see here. It covers a wide range of illnesses, from strokes, heart attack, cancer, up to things like paralysis and Alzheimer's as we get older. And again, it's something you can own for the rest of your life. What did I need? Well, I had been a top producer in long-term care back in the 90s, and everything I did at that time was a kitchen table sale. I was a huge proponent of using the computer in recent years to be able to present and doing web-based presentations, but this was my first real experience at doing it. And I can tell you that working with GTL in particular is a very user or agent-friendly experience when it comes to making web-based sales. On the second part of this series, I will actually share with you the entire presentation as I did it and share that presentation with you so you can tailor it to your story and your needs. But as you're seeing here on the screen, I had a web page that was tailored around the critical care program that I took people to in order to have them then connect with me through Join Me and be able to see my screen, and then I took them through my own PowerPoint presentation. So you do need a computer, you'll need a scanner and printer, you'll need a headset and a monitor to be able to sort of see the program unfold in front of you. It was a very need-based presentation, as you'll see when I share that with you on our next call. And again, there's no need to go to any great expense. Join Me is free. You can use the free version of Join Me. I would have the link on my website so that I would take them to my website and then have them join from that page. So it helped add credibility to what I was doing and who, and how with my background in the business. And you can use, it says here, use a conference service, but frankly I didn't. I just conferenced everybody I called them direct. I used my cell phone, and I could conference anybody else in, and I had a couple of occasions where I was talking to the prospect in one location, but then one of her children in another location. So that was all part of it. And again, I never actually used the conference service. I just conferenced people in on my line. And I also developed a series of emails. Communication was key. We will share with you, Mike has, for any of those who request it, the phone script that I use to set the appointments with the clients, and he'll share that with you so you can use it word for word if you like. I also used email very effectively. I found that people were very receptive to the email. Many times they wouldn't pick up the phones because they screened it and didn't recognize my number, but if I sent them an email, they then responded, and then they would pick up the phone. So I found email was a very good way to expand my ability to reach people. And beyond just emails as well, as an aside, I actually had a lot of success with texting, especially if someone missed an appointment. I would text them saying, we had our appointment, I'm sorry, something must have happened, we missed it. And they would, I don't know what it is about texting, but people can't resist when you text them to respond back. And so I was able to save a lot of appointments where people literally had forgotten, or maybe they were thinking they weren't going to pursue it, but because I texted them, they responded, and we were able to set a time and get together. So I found texting to be very, very effective. Again, all these emails and all these phone scripts and everything else are available to you. All you do, I'll let Mike explain what you need to do in order to get it. I think you just need to make a formal request to him. Again, I had emails for pre-approach. I had emails throughout the process, and I had emails for people I couldn't reach. So there was like 19 different ones. And again, he'll share with you the best of those. Here was an email that I shared once they had been approved, and they needed to still forward payment. And again, we would review the coverage that they got through the computer, just like we had presented the program. GTL has now been able to take applications, it's a web-based application, right through the computer, and they also can use your voice or the voice of your client as the signature. So they do a voice verification signature, and literally from soup to nuts, from beginning to end, the process would take about 45 minutes to submit the application. The application is nothing like an LTC application. It's 4 or 5 pages, 4 pages, frankly, of questions, and the rest of it's an outline of coverage. You can do it, as I said, right over the phone, do a voice verification, and I would get approvals in as little as 12 hours. Literally 12 hours after I would submit the application, I would get back an approval. I hardly ever waited more than a week to get an approval. So this was a much faster turnaround time than traditional long-term care. And the beauty of that was you'd be paid the next week. So certainly within 30 days of any application, you were not only delivering the policy, but seeing your compensation. So again, another huge advantage over traditional long-term care. Again, update request. These are all things that I would use emails to effectively follow up through the process, and and make sure that they understood where they stood in the process, or if they needed to get back an amendment or some other kind of paperwork. I found emails were a very effective way to communicate. If someone got declined, they would receive a letter from GTL, but I would also send up an email and then set it up to say, my job was to help them find a solution. This proved not to be a solution they could qualify for, but that didn't mean that we were going to stop looking. And I would use that to pivot then into an asset-based product like the One America program, or the Lincoln Money Guard program. And I sent several candidates specifically to One America who has that option, potentially looking at a premium program where you can pay like a long-term care policy, even though it's an annuity-based product. But most people want something that's going to pay like traditional long-term care. And so again, the GTL product and the critical care product were their first option they wanted to look at. And it was only after that again, Mike might be able to suggest some other things too that you might be able to look at if the critical care product doesn't fit. Here's another email that I used when I would send them their application and just explain to them what the process was. Again, Michael has all these and can share them with you, I think, upon request. And Michael, that's pretty much what we have for this first webinar. I mean, I know it's our intention for me to give a full presentation like I would for a prospect on the second webinar, and I hope anybody that's on today will attend that. And I'll be glad to take them through exactly what we do and share those PowerPoints with them. But at this point, why don't we open it up for questions and see what people are curious about.
We will do that here in just 1 second. I just want to go over some next steps real quickly for folks, okay? We will send all of you, I will send all of you specifically and personally the invitation for our next presentation, which will be next week. You should see that by midday today, Pacific time. It's a very simple link, much like the one that you engaged with the first time, and that will get you signed up for the second of these two presentations. As far as other next steps, the first thing that you're going to want to do to be able to take advantage of this is to get yourself appointed through us with GTL. That can be done very simply by just sending me an email. My address is mike.anderson, that's S-O-N, at yaim.com. Shoot me a quick note. I will get that out to you. Once we have you appointed with GTL, then the follow-up with regard to materials, including the letters and such, will go out. We'll also provide you with basic electronic versions of the materials you would need to move forward in your resident state and any other state that you feel like you would want to move forward with. And the biggest thing that we want to do is let you know that we have plenty of resources available, including archived, very specific product webinars that we can make available to you as well to get you farther down the path with this opportunity. As Mark said, if you've been in that long-term care space at all, this is a significant opportunity because everybody's had walkaways and they've had health declines that they've had to deal with along the route there. So with all that said, I'm going to go ahead and unmute folks, and so we can start the Q&A portion of the program. All right, and to cover a base piece right off the top, the GTL product is not available in California at this time. Okay, so we usually get questions about that. If you're not going to partake in the Q&A, please go ahead and individually mute your phone by hitting *6. That'll keep us from having background noise sort of overwhelm what it is that we're doing. So
I want to reemphasize something you just said, though, Mike. Again, even if you're affiliated with GTL somewhere else, move your appointment over to AIM. I would never have had the success I had in selling almost 100,000 of this in less than 3 months' time if it wasn't for the support specifically at AIM. And no disrespect toward anyone else, but anybody else would be second best to do business with as far as that goes. Not only Mike, but his entire team. The people are so knowledgeable and have the most amount of experience with this product. It's an opportunity missed if you don't do that. So.
Thanks for that PSA, Mark. We appreciate that. And it is important to note, sort of in conjunction with that, we designed this product. Our sister company, Golden Care, handles the other half of the country. We sought out a carrier that would enable us to put together a product that does the things that this product does. And you'll find out more about that on the next call. What I tell folks all the time, when you're working with us, you're working with the guy who builds engines, not with the people who sell engines. and there is a difference. So that said, let's move forward with questions.
Yep.
Jump in there and let's go forward.
Anybody have anything they would like to ask about? Quiet. Boy, we must have done a good job, Mike. Where we put everybody to sleep. I'm not sure which one it is.
Well, it's crickets. That's a good thing because I think that means you answered all the questions. That's always been my philosophy when I do webinars, is if there aren't questions, it's because you told them what they needed to know.
Yeah. Here, let me give you some things I sort of learned about this, and maybe some questions will come up. One of the things that makes this different, critical care, is that one of the reasons it's so much more liberal in its ability to get people placed is that you can actually take out some of the health history. There's actually 3 plans: Plan A, Plan B, and Plan C. And Plan A covers everything that they offer coverage for, which is heart attack, stroke, cancer, paralysis, organ transplants, Alzheimer's, et cetera. But then Plan B and Plan C allow you to take out a major element of that if your prospect had a history. So if your prospect had a history with cancer, they can eliminate the cancer but still get covered for the heart and all the heart-related things, as well as the Alzheimer's and the paralysis and organ transplants and the like. Or if they had a history with the heart stuff, they can eliminate that but still get covered for the cancer. So again, you have much more flexibility in how or who you can help. And once you know why a person was declined and you can talk to that, again, you have a motivated prospect who wants to take action. Nobody wants to be told they can't get something. And when you can offer them a solution, they are really, really appreciative. So this definitely is one of those circumstances where it's a win-win. Other than that,
go ahead.
Other than that, again, some of the experiences I've had were such that the people that looked at the program, sometimes they really wanted something that worked more like traditional long-term care, and you had to talk to the issue of the specific diagnosis being a trigger. But at the same time, as I was able to share, many times, in fact, more than a few times, these people were just really on a wait period. When they originally applied for long-term care, they had a recent surgery or they had a recent episode in their life where they couldn't qualify at that time. But they could qualify potentially now for long-term care because enough time had passed. And yet they saw the value in looking at the critical care product to be a supplement or a complementary program to a long-term care plan. So it's not just exclusive of, but it was something that could actually be used. And I think, Mike, you've talked about this in past webinars, where they could use the critical care program to complement a long-term care program, especially if it had a long deductible.
Yes, actually, we tell agents all the time that this product is absolutely the perfect complement and supplement to all the different things that they're doing. Because with existing business, it's perfectly complementary in terms of prior clients. It's a phenomenal supplement. And I'll give you just a quick story, and I've told this many times before. I know you've heard it, Mark, about the immediate value of this. And there's not a pun there, but it sort of comes across that way. This product is a day one benefit. I had a colleague here at AIM who at the end of 2011, about 2 months before we rolled this product out, was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. Okay, he's still fighting it, and so far has been successful, thankfully. But what has happened with that is he spent two years in an experimental treatment program in Seattle, which is about a 300-mile round-trip drive. He was making that drive every single Monday. Okay. Now, we didn't have the product at that time. We have great health insurance, et cetera, but there were costs, extensive costs, that weren't covered by the insurance. Think about what a $2,000 a month critical illness policy through GTL would have meant to that individual. That would have been $48,000 in cash to deal with lost time from work, mileage, meals, all those different things. And most importantly, unlike long-term care, day one. Once you have the diagnosis and the pathology back, in the case of cancer, you then have the availability of benefits. you start receiving payments. So again, next steps. What do we want to do next? Well, first thing you're going to want to do is get appointed. We can take care of that. I will be glad to send the paperwork out to you. Email me at mike.anderson, S-O-N, @yaim.com. We'll get that out to you right away. Once we have the appointment paperwork in along with your license, et cetera, then the trailing documentation that you need to move forward, apps, brochures, et cetera, and all of the communication material that you saw in today's presentation, that will be made available. Additionally, we will be emailing everybody on this morning's call the invitation for the call next week for part 2 of this series. So one more time, any questions out there? Mark, do appreciate you making your time available, and I think you did a great job with it. We just want to make sure that if anybody else has a question out there, we get it handled before we move forward.
I can tell you that people are going to be hearing more and more about this program, I think, as it gets traction. And, you know, again, thanks to the good people at Ames. At AIM, I went on a TV show in Houston earlier this week and did a radio interview as well. Or actually, last week I did the TV show and the radio interview this week. And in both cases, the hosts were really interested in hearing about these alternative solutions. And we've gotten several inquiries as a result too. So there's a real interest out there on the part of the public. They just don't simply know about it at this point, and we need to do everything we can to make sure we bring it to their attention.
Yeah, some quick notes about how successful
this is in Rochester, New York.
Yeah,
go ahead.
I have a question about New York, because New York is kind of a different animal as far as insurance.
It's not kind of, it is, but go ahead.
You said that the benefit or this program was not available in California. Is New York on the list of those that are available?
New York, as you said, it's just its own creature, period, and it has a very odd rule, which is their domicile rule, meaning that a carrier has to have a brick-and-mortar office in that state to do business. So the long answer to your question is the GTL product is not available in New York. We have the Mutual of Omaha, and very few products are. We do have Mutual of Omaha available there, and I can talk with you offline about the specifics on that product, but we do have an opportunity there. So appreciate that. Any other questions out there?
Would you call? I'm just still here. Would you still call me about that? I don't know if you have my number. I'm Paul Koski.
Yes, I do have the number, and I will give you a call.
Thank you.
Of course.
Good time of year to be up in Rochester, New York.
Yes, it's beautiful up there right now.
It's a great place.
Right. These are the 3 weeks that it's really nice to be in Rochester, right?
Well, there's more than that. There's a festival every weekend.
There you go.
There you go. All right, any other questions out there this morning? Just some quick numbers with regard to the success with this. I just checked this actually late yesterday afternoon, Mark. 40 applications submitted, 17 approved, 11 pending. We had 2 that they chose not to take it after the offer was made. We had 2 that were incomplete, and we had 8 that were declined. So, you know, for all intents and purposes there, you have about an offer rate of about, you know, once the pendings clear their way through and they track the way everything else does, you're going to have an offer rate of around 80%.
And that's significant. And that's significant because, again, these are all people that were told they couldn't get long-term care. So you're making, you know, bringing opportunity to people that, frankly, you had written off already as a lead you had spent money on or to develop that prospect and had determined there was nothing you could do. You're now able to go back and help the vast majority of those people get something.
There you go. That's exactly what it is. So, okay, any other questions out there this morning?
Okay.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and wrap that up then, everybody. Again, my email is mike.anderson, S-O-N, @yaim.com. You will get an email from me later today that includes the invitation for next week's webinar. And you had something to say. We'll finish up with that, Mark.
No, I just was going to say, if you found any interest in it, please attend that next seminar, because a lot of this I think your eyes open and can become much clearer for you to sort of see how it all plays out once you see the presentation. And again, as I said before, it's not a lengthy thing. It gets right to the heart of the matter and takes people right through the process so they want to apply. But it's something everybody on this call can, with a little practice, can do.
There you go. All right, very good. Mark, thank you so much. We appreciate you making your time available. Thanks to you folks out there in the audience, and we will look to see everybody next week on part 2 of this series on critical illness. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day. Take care.
Take care. Bye.